is coming in from the G20 Summit, which first day, a day which has seen several marked moves, is coming to an end. But as the day nears the end, President Draupadi Murmu is hosting a VVIP special gala dinner for the G20 delegates at the Bharat Mandapam. Pictures are coming in at the moment of various dignitaries being welcomed by President Murmu, Prime Minister Modi as the with the presidency of the G20 playing the host. Those pictures coming in ahead of that dinner at the Bharat Mandapam. Among others at the dinner, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, and the other world leaders who are attending that dinner. The world leaders and delegates being served a series of unique Indian delicacies at this official dinner. Millets very much part of the menu. India pushing the millet agenda as part of its world G20 efforts. Let's go first to Abhishek Bhalla, my colleague who joins us from the venue. Abhishek, it's been a very long day, but it's been an extremely productive day. What's been seen as the big takeovers? We are seeing now the atmospherics of world leaders gathering for that dinner, but through the day, give us a sense of how this day is being seen there by all those who you've been talking to at the Bharat Mandapam.
Well, Rajdeep, there was a lot of suspicion regarding the outcome statement, whether there will be one, whether there won't be an outcome statement at all, and if it comes out, what will be the nature. And people were expecting this statement to come out tomorrow. That was building to the suspicion and the mystery around what's going to happen. There was a bit of an anticlimax when that joint statement was read out today, and the big takeaway was that talking about consensus, whether there will be consensus on several issues or not, it's 100% consensus joint statement. 83 paragraphs in that joint statement. All 83 have complete consensus. So that's the big takeaway. Of course, the Russia-Ukraine war was the big contentious issue. Now that also, is extremely significant because it does mention, the statement has several references to the war, but there is no condemnation or reprimand for Russia. It's been worded very smartly. It says that territorial integrity of all nations needs to be respected. So there's a clear, subtle hint that Russia has gone beyond what the UN Charter says. There is a clear reference to that. The other big thrust from India was that India wants to be the voice of the global south, and that's something that's come out again very clearly, because not just has the African Union been made a permanent member of the G20, but several developing nations have rallied around what the agenda put forward by India was.
Right. Abhishek Bhalla joining us, and we're going to come to those key takeaways at the moment, Abhishek, with all our special guests. But thanks very much for joining us there from the Bharat Mandapam. Now, as those images play out, let's give you all the big key takeaways. It's been a long day, a day where at the end of the day, it's been a productive day. The Delhi Leadership Declaration was adopted. Russia has not been named with reference to the Ukraine war. While condemning territorial aggression, there is no specific reference to Russia, unlike in Bali, and we'll be discussing that later too. Is this a climb down by the US and the West to make consensus possible? That's one takeaway that's coming in. The big other takeaway, African Union getting permanent membership of G20. That's huge. Effectively, 55 nations representing the African Union have now got a voice at the global high table. That is being seen as a major achievement for the Prime Minister in particular, who's been pushing India to be seen as the voice of the global south. The other big actual productive step forward, India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor announced. Now, we don't know how that will actually work in eventually, but it is an ambitious project. And US President Joe Biden has reportedly said that he expects that word economic corridor to come out time and again in the months and years ahead. So this is a major initiative. India, the United Arab Emirates, Europe, the United States, Saudi Arabia, all very much part of it. Remember, the Saudi Royal Prince is here for an official state visit on Monday. So that's a major step forward again of creating possibly an alternate to China's One Belt, One Road initiative. Also important, the Global Biofuel Alliance to boost the use of cleaner fuels that's been announced. That is again seen as a step forward as the world looks for cleaner energy in the next decade. And the declaration, Delhi Declaration, acknowledges the need for trillions of dollars for the climate fight. But the commitments there are still missing. How this climate financing will take place has been left for the Dubai summit that will take place later on, specifically on climate change issues. But either way, at the end of the long day, it will be seen as a big win for India because the G20 countries did reach 100% consensus on the Delhi Declaration. Contentious issues were, in a way, some would say watered down, but carefully navigated to focus on what was needed, a roadmap ahead. Prime Minister Modi made that big announcement. He described it as historic and path-breaking. The government also says that the New Delhi Leaders Declaration had a huge India narrative, a huge India footprint. How is this being seen? It's our top story.
In a world divided, unity prevailed.
हमारी टीम्स के हार्डवर्क से और आप सभी के सहयोग से नई दिल्ली G20 लीडर्स समिट डिक्लेरेशन पर सहमति बनी है.
India, as the G20 president, secured consensus. Even as the shadow of the Ukraine-Russia conflict loomed large over this gathering of the world's most influential leaders.
मेरा प्रस्ताव है कि इस लीडर्स डिक्लेरेशन को भी एडॉप्ट किया जाए. मैं इस डिक्लेरेशन को एडॉप्ट करने की घोषणा करता हूं. इस अवसर पर मैं हमारे मंत्रीगण, शेरपा और सभी अधिकारियों का हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं.
The G20 leaders unanimously adopted the New Delhi Declaration, agreeing that states must refrain from threatening or using force to acquire territory. A monumental victory for Indian diplomacy. Concerns that the G20 might falter due to the Russian and Chinese objections regarding the ongoing war were put to rest.
The New Delhi Leaders Declaration has 83 paras in all. All 83 paras have 100% consensus across all countries. This demonstrates both the Prime Minister's and India's great ability to bring all developing countries, China, Russia, everybody together on the same table.
A year-long effort culminated in agreement when the world grappled with the Russia-Ukraine crisis. India showcased its diplomatic prowess, uniting global powers. The New Delhi Declaration called for peace without condemning Russia harshly, while addressing broader global economic issues.
It envisages a green development pact for a sustainable future. It endorses high-level principles on lifestyle for sustainable development, voluntary principles on hydrogen, the Chennai principles for a sustainable and resilient blue economy, and the Deccan principles on food security and nutrition, among others.
India, in its role as G20 president, championed inclusivity, especially for the Global South, in decision-making.
At Prime Minister Modi's initiative, 125 nations were consulted to express the voice of the Global South. In terms of its organization and program, the Indian presidency, if I may say so, has been exceptional. Events have been spread across 60 cities, which are truly across the length and breadth of India. There has been a popular participation and a societal involvement of an extraordinary degree. The G20 has contributed to making India world ready and the world India ready.
The New Delhi Declaration boldly carries the Indian narrative, embracing human-centric globalization across all aspects of development and geopolitics, from security and health to finance, economy and technology.
It has been very clear in our mind that we should ensure that no one is left behind in our pursuit of global solutions. The G20, as you all know, is a very diverse group. Each country is at different milestones of economic development, and their trajectory is also very different in achieving their developmental goals. So through well-curated debates and careful assimilation of all the perspectives, the Indian presidency has crafted solutions that resonate with each member, offering a shared path forward for all.
India's diplomatic triumph on the world stage, a significant stride in leading the world towards consensus and cooperation. Bureau Report, India Today.